All right. This is Robbie Davidson, Celebrate Truth Live. We're back. This is take two. We're having some issues on um, Facebook. But anyways, let's see if this works. I'm gonna post it and yeah, we'll see. And if it doesn't work, then I really don't know what to say or what's going on. But we'll figure that out another time. We can't have that prevent what we're doing here. So let's just take a peek here and everything should be good. Let me know if everyone can hear me loud and clear. Everyone is seeing on the screen and then we should be ready to roll. So I'm just going to take a look here real quick and yeah, let's start. So anyways, all right. So yeah, I can definitely see someone viewing and a couple more people viewing. So hello everyone, welcome. This is Celebrate Truth. I'm Robbie Davidson. I am doing a live Q&A tonight. It's been long overdue. We are dealing with January 2018, and I kept letting everyone know that I was going to do it very, very soon. A few things came up, and I had to kind of prolong it a little bit more. But I really appreciate everyone coming here for Celebrate Truth Live. Love I really appreciate all your support. You guys have been so amazing throughout 2017. It was just an amazing year. Was able to release Scientism Exposed 2, was able to put on the Flat Earth International Conference, and it was just a fantastic time meeting every one of you. And thank you so much. Hey, Karen, welcome. I want to say hi to a few people before we get into it, and we'll get answering some questions here in a little bit. But I wanted to definitely say hello. Hello, Kevin. Thanks for joining. Hey, Jamie. Hey, New Life Trucking is back. Karen B, really, really appreciate it. If you guys haven't checked out Karen B's channel, check it out. She put on a really, really amazing thing when it came to doing an entire commentary around her experience at Flat Earth International Conference 2017. It was a fantastic job. It was amazing. I'm going to have to be posting that soon and really giving that exposure because it was a wonderful breakdown of everything that happened. And I'm working on a few things myself so that I can get that out real soon. And I'll talk about some more announcements a little bit later in this broadcast. So, hey, the robot, Crazy Wayne is here. Morning. Not sure where Crazy Wayne is, but it's morning there. So I would imagine somewhere else, not in North America. We've got a ton of people coming here, joining up, and really appreciate all you guys. Thanks so much, Michael. Again, I was saying before we had issues on Facebook side, I was saying thank you so much to all the wonderful moderators at Celebrate Truth Live. You guys are so awesome. I was so busy, and you guys really managed the chat well. I would kind of watch at times. I would kind of pop in, but I would see how you were dealing with things, and I really appreciate it. I know it can be tough sometimes dealing with, really, really some obnoxious people, sometimes some really rude and even blasphemous people. But again, I really appreciate your patience, but also being able to put your foot down and dealing with things when they need it to be dealt with. So I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much to all my patrons. You guys are really awesome. I really appreciate all your support. And like I was mentioning before, I'm going to answer questions regardless. I'll try to get to as many as I can. But if you want to do a super chat, really appreciate your support. It will highlight it. It doesn't get lost in the shuffle. But like I said, you don't have to use super chat. I'm definitely going to answer questions. It's just an option is there. It highlights it. I can definitely see it, and it makes it a lot easier. But I will answer questions regardless. I will try to get to as many as possible a bit later when we start the Q&A. I know that a lot of people have questions. I was just excited to let everyone know about plans are already moving forward with a few things this year. If you're not aware, Flat Earth International Conference 2018 in Denver, Colorado, the rooms are now available. I did an announcement last week, I believe, on that, and the rooms are now available. So you can just register it. Doesn't really cost you anything. You just put your credit card down. It reserves your room. Now the rooms are going to sell out quick. I can assure you on that. Now there's a lot of choices around the venue for other type of accommodations, even hotels. This is just the official Flat Earth International Conference conference hotel located right where the conference is. You don't even have to leave the building. So there's that convenience. It's cool. Again, you don't have to, but again, if that's something that you want to look at, look at reserving your room. There's only so many, and I'm sure that they're going to go quickly. So again, that was one thing I was excited about. A lot of people were asking about when are the rooms going to be available. And if you didn't get a chance to come out to the conference in Raleigh, I urge you for sure to try your best to come out to Denver. It's going to be absolutely amazing. We're expecting double to triple the attendance. It's going to be absolutely wonderful. Looking at doing a lot of new things, but also just adapting and basically modifying it in such a way that everyone's really happy. So again, we're going to be doing breakout sessions, workshops. We're going to have different things available. I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy. So it's only going to get better. It's going to be an awesome time. And if you haven't really met many flat earthers, it's honestly one of the greatest opportunities because you can meet a ton. And just in that time, the feeling you have being around everyone that you can just relate to, it's an awesome experience. I would say that 80% of what goes on at a conference is the community, is hanging out. So just remember that when it comes to you know the community, that's really what conferences are all about, and you really develop like long-lasting friendships and bonds that really will be there a lifetime, and that's the most amazing thing. So again, Flat Earth International Conference 2018, it's at fe2018.com. Super easy, just fe2018.com. You can go there, check it out. Awesome. Again, if you're looking for information on last year's conference, it's at fe2017.com. And I was actually just talking with my wife, and we're planning some things right now, in discussion with Denver and a few other surprises. And we're really looking at, going over the top when it comes to Denver and what we have planned for Denver. So I think you guys are all going to be really excited. If you can't get out, again, we are going to be offering the live stream. We'll have the whole experience through the live stream, and we've got some surprises planned there as well. So I think it's going to be really exciting for everyone that's involved. So again, it was an amazing opportunity for myself to debut, my film Scientism Exposed 2. And it was a wonderful opportunity as well to, have Rob Skiba and like Dean Odell and, all these people that were actually in the film there watching it for the first time. And it was really exciting. It was an experience that I've never really had my entire life. I've debuted films and documentaries, even privately in my home, with friends and family, but nothing to that extent. And with the media and everyone, watching this for the first time, it was really an extraordinary experience. So for me, it was something that I will remember the rest of my life. And moving into the channel, and like I had mentioned, on the first little stream that I did, I wanted to say that, in the 2.5 years that Celebrate Truth has been running, I've done over 300 videos. I've done 8 different documentaries, including Impossible, The Global Lie, Scientism Exposed 1 and 2, and many others. But it was absolutely incredible, like I said, with Scientism Exposed 2, because up until that point, I never really, took it outside of the internet, whether it was a Skype call or a Hangout or something like this. This was the time where I was able to actually meet these people in person, spend time with them. And that's going back to the conference atmosphere. This is the great thing. You get to know, these people more. You get to meet like Rob, or you get to meet other people that you've been talking to, online, even in the chat room. It's a great opportunity to all kind of meet together. And the things that happen are really, really special and extraordinary. So again, huge thanks. Again, it's been a long time. I don't know when the last Q&A, I did a small Q&A, I think was way back in May, June of maybe 2017. I did kind of a small one the other day, but I want to do something more, extensive and really start, talking to a lot of you here. So I want to say hello to a few people actually at Facebook. Tina has joined, and Bruce. Hello, Bruce, and John. How you doing, man? It's good to see you guys checking it out there. There's people also, with, at the YouTube channel. So for a lot of you, you've kind of been on this journey for a while. I'm not sure. Maybe in the comments, it'd be interesting for everyone to kind of see in the chat room. Maybe just post, what year, maybe the month and year, you actually came to Flat Earth. How long have you been into this? A month or two? Has it been a couple years? Are you a real veteran? Again, it's interesting to me how many people. I mean, I was talking to someone the other day, and like, how long, have you been into Flat Earth? And they're like, honestly, it's been like a month. I'm like, a month? And it's like they came across a few videos and started looking on it. And that's what we have to understand. There's so many people coming to FE all the time. We have Jacob there talking about FE since 2015, right? And then you've got, Flat Earther October of 2016, right? So we have all these dates, April of 2017. Look at that. Frank, came to it in April 2017. That's not that very far, far ago. Karen came into it in 2015. And it's to me, it's an amazing thing, this journey we're on, and it goes so incredibly quick. Back in April, May of 2015, I didn't start my channel till August of 2015. So I had all this time to kind of research it, and then once I was like, wow, this is for real. Like this is absolutely for real. I had to come out with a channel. I had to speak on this. And I tell people, I encourage people a lot of times. Radio Liverpool's February of 2017. Wow. Michael Smith is April of 2015. So yeah, so Michael and I are pretty much around the same time, coming to it. And all of a sudden, by August, I was like, God was just calling me. He's like, you got to get out and you got to talk about this. This is huge. I mean, can you think of anything bigger than this? There is nothing, right? There is nothing bigger than this. And that's what I keep trying to tell people. I'm like, do you understand that we're on the forefront of something so massive? And while everyone's excited and thinking, the whole world's going to wake up to it, next month or next year, and I'm not trying to be a pessimist. I'm being more of a realist, but I'm looking at it like this is a long process and it's worthwhile. But if you start thinking that like, we're going to see a ton of fruit, like, half the world waking up to it in like a year or two, I really don't believe that's going to happen. I could be proved wrong, and I say this to everyone. I mean, prove me wrong, that's fine. But I really think this is a gradual thing. It's something we have to dedicate ourselves to. It's a serious issue. There's a lot of people, I mean, a lot of people deceived. I mean, this is the greatest deception. There is nothing greater. And if anyone can think of something greater than this, even hypothetically, even if you want to come up with a hypothetical, I can't really think of anything that would be bigger than this lie. So again, flat Earth, we're on to the greatest deception. Now, understand that there's a lot of people out there that might not come to opening their eyes to this greatest deception. They might still be at JFK, looking into JFK or 9/11. Most of us on this journey had already gone through the truther stage. We had already kind of looked into, 9/11 or Bohemian Grove or Skull and Bones or, chemtrails or, GMOs. All I'm saying is we were on this journey already. And I would say that the majority of us, were on the upper echelons. Myself and even my wife for that matter, we didn't believe the moon landing. And I would say that if you're talking to someone that doesn't believe in the moon landing, I am hard pressed to find someone that doesn't believe at all, 100% they landed on the moon, and yet are 100% closed-minded to flat Earth. They're going to be open. That's the whole pivotal point. When you're talking conspiracies, when you're talking this scale, I say this in many interviews, is the moon landing is your pivotal point. If you can get people thinking on that, they're going to be open. They're going to be open. And I mean, I was shooting Scientism Exposed too. I'm on the plane and a guy's beside me. And I usually talk to people, and usually it comes up, hey, what do you do? Okay, great. Hey, what do you do? Oh, I'm a filmmaker, I'll say. Right? Oh, wow, yeah, I'm shooting a documentary. Oh, what's your documentary on? Scientism. Well, what's scientism? And away I go, right? And scientism is such a great topic because you're not saying, "Oh, flat Earth." And they're like, "What? You're nuts." I'm not talking to you the rest of the flight. They were really intriguingly, they were really interested in what I had to say. But again, we're on the flight and we're talking, and I got into, of course, NASA, and I go, "Don't you find this strange? And don't you find that strange?" And once they were tracking, they were ready for it. But by hour two, I just went in for the kill. I went right in for flat Earth because the guy sitting beside me in this particular case was ready. He was already basically like, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if they landed on the moon. And so he was already ready. And we were talking conspiracies and these type of, topics. So again, that's the angle. And I always tell people that there's three different types of people that come to flat Earth. And I said this when I was on Now You See TV 2 nights ago. And I went through this and I'll go through this with all the interviews I do. I mean, I might just do a dedicated video to it because I think it's really important. Understand there's three types of people that come to flat Earth. And really, if there's a fourth, let me know. I really don't know of a major group. And I'm not talking belief system or anything. I'm just talking three types of people. And you could be, of the three, you could be two, you could be all three, you could be one. But again, you got the scientific minded, only care about science. They want empirical science. They want to prove the earth based on experimentation, and they want to come to it based on the scientific method. Or they'll come at it with a conspiratorial type viewpoint. They're just like, well, I looked into 9/11 and JFK and this, that, and yeah, maybe there's a conspiracy going on, and maybe they didn't land on the moon. And from a conspiratorial type of take, this is where you can approach it. But again, like in that spectrum, remember, where are they at with the moon landing? And as long as you get them on that, you're ready. But if they're already believing they landed on the moon, you got work to do. You got to go almost through 9/11. If you're talking to someone that believes the official commission report of 9/11 that it was hijackers with, box cutters that took down the Twin Towers based on, jet fuel, burning the steel columns. If you're dealing with that type of person and you're already talking conspiracies, stop right away. Don't even get into moon yet. Don't even get into the shape of the earth. Move back and start talking to them about, 9/11. You have to, because if you're jumping from, it's like, think of this, it's like jumping from JFK right to they didn't land on the moon. If someone's already, not quite there, you got to go through these different levels. I know there's a couple memes out there online where they talk about levels, and they're just like, level one, do you believe, this, and then level two, level three, and I mean, flat Earth is like level 10. I haven't even seen a meme that, people will put flat Earth, they'll actually draw it on, because I don't think that meme even has flat Earth in it. It has like GMOs and chemtrails and, all this stuff. But they'll put flat Earth in the level 7. But I mean, flat Earth is level 10. So you're dealing on a spectrum there. So again, getting back to it, the scientific guys, the conspiracy type of people, or I would say the truthers, the people that are really hungry for the truth, looking into a lot of, lies of the world. And the third type are the Bible or the spiritual or the religious, or however you want to look at it. But if you're dealing with someone that's really sincerely looking at the Word of God, at the Bible as literal, and no, we can't take it for granted. Whatever is written in there means something. If you're dealing with that type of person, then you can walk through the verses. You can walk through, the firmament verses. You can walk through, the Joshua 10 where it talks about the sun and moon stopping. What do we do with that? That's historic. It's not even poetic. So you can talk to people and say, look, obviously that sun was moving. And he commanded it to stop, and the moon and sun stopped. And not only that, they stopped over specific places. I mean, it's so detailed. It talks about the sun stopping over a place and the moon stopping over another place. And again, you can look on the map and you see it. It's really, really extraordinary. And again, as Frank is saying, God made two great lights, and it's totally true. These are two lights. That's a whole other issue. It's talking about, you know, oh no, it's the sun reflecting off the moon, and no, 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 no. They're two lights. That's a whole other thing. We can get into that. But again, back to the three types of people: science, conspiracy, and spiritual. So you're dealing with three types. So what you need to do is you just need to assess where that person is at. First of all, are you dealing with a Bible person, spiritual person that really loves the Bible? Great. Focus that. Don't even worry about conspiracies. Don't even worry about science. What I'm saying is you have three different positions here, and that's what we're seeing. That's what was represented at the Flat Earth International Conference. You had these type of people, not to mention there were people that were curious that came as well. There were people that weren't even sold on it. They came to learn. A good example of that is Joe Taylor, the paleontologist that's in Scientism Exposed 2, my movie. He still isn't on board 100% with flat Earth, but he's learning and he's also curious and he's asking questions. And we have wonderful talks. So again, that's a different type of sort when people are like, coming to a flat earth conference because they're hungry to learn. They're not there yet. A lot of us, we just flip the switch. Some people, it will be gradual. It will take them a lot longer. And that's the thing we need to, be, concerned with. So, hey, Terry's joined. Chris, nice to see you guys. Talking to people here on Facebook, but also we've got YouTube going on as well, and we've got the chat going. So, hey, Kevin, nice to see you. Hey, Matt. And it's awesome when you have three different personality types that you can talk to about this. So again, it can be, scary sometimes, but we need to address it in the sense that sometimes we just need to be bold, we need to get out there, but we need to be smart about it and maybe not just come out with, I think the earth is flat in the first sentence. We need to kind of just gauge someone, where are they at, what type of person are they, and it will be interesting to see what happens when you kind of take that approach. Now, I'm not saying this all the time. Sometimes we could just, talk to someone if we feel comfortable and just tell them. Maybe some people in our life will know already, and that's fine. I mean, this is just what I'm saying, I felt has really worked for me. I've seen it. I've seen people open up, really engage in conversations, be really hungry to know more when you kind of start off subtle and you kind of move that direction and you kind of gauge it. And if you're dealing with someone on the plane, you only have so many hours. But if you're dealing with someone in real life where you've got months, years, you've got a long time, and you can kind of go that direction. So but again, it's been rough for a lot of you, as far as I was reading on Facebook just actually yesterday that someone actually asked someone for a job reference. It was a friend of 18 years, and they reached out to them and said, hey, would you be a reference for my job? And they said because they believed the person had lost their mind based on flat earth, he said, I don't think it would be a good idea. I mean, that's cold. I mean, there's not really too much you can say on that other than that, wow, I mean, that is low, that is cold. Just because based on someone's beliefs, I can't be a reference, but this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with people, trying to make it very difficult for people that are going against the grain, going against, the society norms, and especially when it comes to the education system with the globe. I mean, remember, this is what we all were showing in grade one. As early as we can remember, we were like, this is where you live. I mean, I have a daughter, she's just turned, well, over two now, and the programming that I'll see sometimes for her, I'm just like, what are they thinking? It's just constant space, 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 space. I posted something, I think it was on my Facebook recently, about, I think the song Baa Baa Black Sheep. Well, they had the song playing, but yet there's a little sheep, flying around in a flying saucer meeting aliens in the universe. And I'm like, what does that have to do with the, nursery rhyme Baba Black Sheep? But again, this is what we're dealing with. And if you put on any type of level of show, even for babies, put on a show for babies and you will see all the space propaganda. It's just continually there. It's just in our face all the time. So as an early age, we're all taught, this is where you live. It's a globe. Don't you understand? It's a globe. And that's what we're seeing is it's not a globe. It's not what the reality is. And people like to come and call us names and say all these sort of things. And I find that when I'm getting people that are asking or calling me names, I'm just like, I'll challenge them to a public debate. And I mean, they just never do. They're just wimp away. The reality is we know more most times about their model than they know about their own model. And that's the tragic. But it's also an amazing thing because this journey has got us to really study more and be fascinated by science or by true science, not scientism, or understanding the dichotomy between the two. Like at the beginning of my film, Scientism Exposed, I open up with here's science, here's scientism. This is what the difference is, right? A lot of people are holding on to what they believe is science, but it's scientism. And that's what we're dealing with. So a lot of people are not aware that what they are believing in is really not true. It's not based on the scientific method. It's really not based on anything at all. Just, a bunch of lies. So again, in the last few years, we've had people coming out, articles being written, and, I would say that after the conference, there was a tremendous amount of articles. I think I did over 14 different interviews after the conference. I mean, I was doing interviews with like South Korea and Russian, a news agency in Russia and Canada, and I mean, so many countries and so many different publications, and BuzzFeed and all these sort of things. And I would say that a lot of people are getting to a point now where, and I'm saying the media, even though we look at the media, we're like, oh, they're trying to take a pot shot and stuff like this, but they're getting to a point where they're getting very curious because so many people are coming to this. And it's not just those religious fanatics or Bible thumpers. It's not just those crazy conspiracy, tin hat wearing people. It's all spectrums. It's all different people. And the media that were there at the conference, they were seeing it. They were seeing all types of different people. They were seeing incredibly intelligent people, and to engage with and stuff. So I think over time, the narrative, not that it's going to get better in the sense that we're going to be so, happy with the coverage, but what I say is any media coverage is good coverage because more and more people are coming to it. And some people say, yeah, but a lot of that stuff, or this person's making this look stupid, or that, or we're worried about people. Listen, we don't have to be worried about anyone because I came to Flat Earth through a video that was mocking Flat Earth. So what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter. Most people will come to a certain video, whether it was like Math Powerland or they came to Eric Dubay or whatever, but they eventually went on their journey and they found something that fit and worked for them. So we don't need to be threatened by people, whether you love Eric Dubay, you hate him. It doesn't matter what you think what his belief system is. Don't be worried about it. It's so much bigger than personalities or people. This is a God thing. The creator is waking up the creation to the truth. And that's what's going on. He's waking tons of people up. And what they do with that, I mean, they can look into things. And so many people are, opening up a Bible and reading, and they're on that journey too. Like we all have been on that journey ourselves. So again, I just wanted to like make sure that it came on. I explained to a lot of people kind of what was going on. I wanted to definitely say thanks to so many of you. You guys have been like awesome through the whole thing. It's been such an honor to be part, of Celebrate Truth and to see the ministry and to see what it's doing in people's lives. I get so many emails. I get a lot of people reaching out to me, sharing their stories on what's going on through this truth. And again, we get it all the time. Oh, what does it matter? Or, oh, it's a distraction. Or who cares? And I mean, the truth matters big time. And this is changing people's lives, and it's changing it, I mean, for eternity. And that's the incredible thing here. I mean, my private premiere for Scientism Exposed at my house, I had like an atheist on my couch, used to be. And he was telling the story how, like, in a split second, his whole life, 28 years, he'd been an atheist. And instantly, and I hear this story all the time, and that's the one thing, when I was sitting there at the conference looking around and even hearing everyone's testimonies and talking, didn't matter where they were. Everyone was basically saying, why would they lie about the shape of the earth? Everyone I ran into were saying they're hiding God. I mean, Jaron, said it for goodness sakes. I mean, people were all kind of coming up with that conclusion. So to me, it's an extraordinary thing seeing that, this is waking people up to the idea that they're a creator. So for me, this truth or this topic is aimed really, really hardcore at atheists. You can talk about a lot of different belief systems, but what I'm seeing is it's really going at people that have hung on to science their whole life. If anything, they revolted, they went away from church, they laughed at the Bible, all these sort of things, including myself, because science basically had proven the Bible's a joke. That science had proved that you can't rely on a bunch of ignorant men, writing a stupid storybook. You know, it was basically science. It was science that proved the fact that there's no way you could have all these animals on a boat. It was science that proved, there's no way you could have this Tower of Babel. It would be too big. It would top over. Whatever. On and on and on. It was through the scientific method based on the Big Bang heliocentric cosmology, saying that no, the Earth, was created after the sun. And the Bible says that the sun was created after the earth. Again, sequences and timelines matter. And people that just discount this, these are the type of people we really need to pray for. We really need to kind of see it. So again, we want to talk a lot about that, and I know it's important. So let's get into the Q&A. I know a lot of people are waiting. I'm rambling on, but again, I just wanted to say it. Like I said, it's been a long time. I wanted to go through a lot of things that we've been, going through and experiencing. I get a lot of emails, a lot of people that are kind of beaten down. And again, I just wanted to address it. If they're listening to this later, at another time, just want to say, just keep going. Like I said, it's going to be a bumpy road, but the rewards are going to be huge. It's so worthwhile getting this truth out, getting the strength to kind of move forward. And hopefully, you guys will all be part of it as we continue to grow and, keep the faith because honestly, big things are in store. So, anyways, we'll go through some questions here just to make sure, because I did actually call it, it's time, Q&A with Robbie Davidson. So I'm not going to talk the whole time. I want to get into some questions. So we'll start going through some questions if you want to like address some questions. And Crazy Wayne definitely wants to wait for the Q&A. So if Crazy Wayne has a question, go ahead. And again, just ask to be respectful. Obviously, the rules are there. So if it's something that you don't all right, let's see here. Do you know what all thinks? We are now in the time of tribulations. Your thought, Robbie. This is Radio Liverpool. When it gets into my eschatology, when it gets to end times, I've said for a long time that I believe, like the talks about the labor pains and it talks about these things. Now, do I believe it's in the next, 5 years? No, I don't. Do I believe it's in the next 10 years? No, I don't. Again, no man knows the day or the hour. But do I believe that we're kind of in the end period, however long that is? Yes, I do. And I think that for many, many reasons. So I would just answer that short because I can't go into too much depth on each question because there's going to be, a lot of people wanting to ask the questions. But I would say that, yeah, I would believe so, but I don't know if I would hold to any type of time period where we could predict it. I would just say that, yeah, time is short. I think that we're kind of closing down the clock based on a lot of different things. And if you look into some of my videos, you'll see where I'm at. There's a few documentaries I've done definitely on the end times. So, Christopher Lee, Robbie, my biggest thing is Antarctica. How is there 24-hour daylight there? Well, Christopher Lee, if you actually start looking into the 24-hour daylight, and I urge you to do this because a lot of people kind of look into this. If you look into the time lapses and different things, there's lots of footage that's cut out. Again, as far as I know, and there's a lot of great investigations. What I would say is to look into, even Jaren's done a lot of work on the 24-hour sun. Globebusters is another great place to check out. They address this. But the reality is, I don't know if you conclusively say that based on evidence. Now, people could claim that, but Show me the video proof of that unaltered, where there is no video footage. You'll see it if you actually look, and you'll see the timestamp, and there's hours missing. So if there was truly 24-hour sun, you should be able to record that, live stream it 24/7. That does not exist. Point me to the video that's verified, if that's not the case. But as far as I know it's a hard thing for a lot of people, but anyways, that's just my take on it. It can be tough when you hear that, but again, look at the evidence. Do your due diligence on all things. I mean, just because you're on YouTube or watch videos and stuff, if you're really hungry for that answer, really search it out. I know that a few flat earthers out there really do some awesome work on it. I haven't looked into it thoroughly, but again, I know enough to know that the evidence is lacking when it comes to a 24-hour sun, proven by video footage. So you can kind of look into that and stuff and see what you think on it, and we'll go from there. And that's the whole thing, is you can kind of look at all these things, but at the end of the day, you got to decide for yourself, what exact evidence are you supporting? Because that's kind of what we're getting at, is why we're kind of going against scientism, is, hey guys, where's the evidence? So remember that whatever it is, where is the concrete, empirical evidence? And you can go for that, and we'll see. So yeah, and that's the thing. It's asking as well too, when it comes to like flat Earth and stuff like that with Antarctica and stuff. To me, it's such a big topic. To me, it was one of the most intriguing things when I started looking into Antarctica. And there's so many amazing books written on it. There's so much fishy stuff going on. It's not even funny. You've got like, you know, politicians and different people. You got Hitler himself going down to Antarctica. I mean, Antarctica is a whole treasure trove of all sorts of stuff you can look into. So I would urge anyone, if you're really curious, start looking into Antarctica, because there's just a ton of stuff, like a ton of stuff going on. And there's been amazing things. I remember when I came across Flat Earth Clues, the whole Antarctica bit really got me, and I started looking into that, and I'm like, wow, like this is this is for real. And you just start connecting all these dots, and you're like, what is going on? So for me, I like to kind of connect all the dots and try to piece it together, and that's exactly what I was seeing. So you know so it's asking, why isn't it called the Antarctica Peace Treaty? Why isn't it called the Antarctica Peace Treaty? Again, when it comes to the Antarctica Treaty, to me, it's the only time ever that I've known of that many nations keeping a peace, not breaking that treaty. Something really wacky is going on in Antarctica. And again, there's so many things to look into. I actually touch on it in Scientism Exposed 2. If you haven't seen my documentary, check it out. I go into it, there with Dean Odell, Pastor Dean Odell, Rob Skiba specifically. Those two really start piecing it all together when it comes near the end with Antarctica. I mean, if I was to do a follow-up, I could go a lot deeper into Antarctica, but I really believe that there's major connections in there and stuff. So, someone's mentioned they took their P900 out. And I looked for, what lake was it? It was Millie Lake, 4 miles on Tuesday. So you went to a lake. Yeah, and there's some amazing stuff. I mean, I have a P900 myself. It's incredible. Zoom in on stars, zoom in on the moon, and yet they tell us it's a quarter of a million miles away. Yeah, right. I mean, a prosumer camera, priced at $500-600, and you can't see. You can't, like you would not be able to see things that close with a prosumer camera, and that's the whole thing. So Richard's asking about tides. Richard, yeah, you start looking at tides, it gets really, really interesting. A lot of people are thinking about, oh, the moon is doing that. There's some incredible work. I would suggest you just type in flat Earth tides. There's a couple great videos. That's all you got to type in YouTube, flat Earth tides. And again, they can go into it really deep for you and stuff. Extraordinary stuff, because again, it will show you a lot of compounding evidence to support the fact that no, the moon doesn't control the tides, because again, you've got different factors going on. And just urge you to YouTube flat Earth tides, or even Google it. There's a couple great articles on that, and it will go into depth. It's a little bit of a in-depth type topic, but I think you'll find what you're looking for there. So, um, talking about the Earth is flat, water is flat, and that's the thing with the the P900. That's the crazy thing, is looking over waters, bodies of waters. People are seeing these things constantly, over and over and over again, things that they shouldn't be seeing. I was doing an interview a few days ago and explaining the same thing, that these things we should not be able to see based on, you know, the Pythagorean theorem, based on the curvature rates at, 8 inches per mile squared. You just should not be able to see things at 40, 50, 60, 100 miles away. I think I think at 100 miles away, it's 1.4 miles below the curvature of the Earth, yet we're seeing it. I mean, just think of these distances. So it's it's crazy, right? So Christopher Lee is talking about the massive thigh bone on Scientism Exposed 2 alone proves that giants walk the Earth. And yeah, Christopher Lee, giants, I mean, is another thing that scientism, and their buddies have all basically tried to hide. Why? Because it validates the Bible. It really does. I mean, what other literature out there, when it comes down to it, supports the fact of giants? I mean, get into David and Goliath, get into all the giants that are in there. So again, remember that the same type of stuff that a lot of people that were fighting kind of scientism before even flat Earth came around, they were fighting evolution. They were fighting the biological. So you have people that are looking into, breaking down evolution, giants, the flood account. Because again, if you look into it, they're really trying to hide the worldwide flood. There's so much evidence to support a worldwide flood. Just look into it, and it's unbelievable. Brian Smith is asking, how large are the stars? Not to sound stupid, I was thinking about a half a football field in diameter. Brian, how large are the stars? I'm not sure, but I think they're a lot. I mean, a tremendous lot smaller. Again, there's a few verses in the Bible specifically when Jesus says all the stars are going to fall to the earth. There's a lot of different like interpretations, but understand that the whole idea that there are other suns that are, massively, in times magnified over even our sun. This is just absolutely complete nonsense when it comes to what stars are. Furthermore, if you're following the Bible, understand there were three things that were created: sun, moon, and also stars. What does that mean? Stars are not suns and suns are not stars. It also means that there is one sun and there is lots of stars, just like it says. And it says why were stars created? They were created for times and seasons. They're lights. Everything that we see in the sky is lights. Back to, I forget who posted that before, talking about that God made the two lights, one to rule the night, one to rule the day, the greater and the lesser light. They're lights. Stars are lights, all these sort of things, right? So what I'm saying is there's a lighting atmosphere to it when it comes to stars. There's also the interpretation when it comes to, could they be angelic? Could they be living somehow? Sure. I mean, the moon and the sun, are masculine and feminine. What does that mean? I mean, maybe there's like a gender to them. Again, this is how they're portrayed. This is in the Bible, but yet they're all lights. Ask yourself the question, if you are going to light your room, do you need a light that is 18 times bigger than your house to light your house? No, you don't. I mean, it's just common sense. Go look in your dining room or your kitchen and look above the entire kitchen. How big is that light? The whole idea that we would need a light that big, again, only supports if we have a universe that big, that type of understanding. So again, because they explained everything and they lie about our universe, they have to make the sun massive and huge. But if you're understanding the fact that there's just Earth and everything we see in the sky revolves around us, was created for us, they can be small, a lot smaller than what we're told. So yeah, the stars are a lot smaller. I wouldn't know at all. I wouldn't even have a clue how small. Like I couldn't measure them. And that's the reality. I would never know through measurements what the sun is, what the moon is, even what the stars are. But I definitely know what they're not. So it's a great question. And Karen B from Mod. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I'm kind of answering questions, but absolutely, yeah, I will make Karen B a mod for sure. Um, oh, almost put Karen B in a timeout. Sorry, Karen. No, I didn't. I'm just kidding. I just saw the thing come up. Can you imagine that? It'd be like, boop, I just banned Karen B. Everyone would be like, he just banned Karen B. It'd be like this huge rumor, and it'd be just, oh, it'd be bad. I'd have to like call Karen and be like, Karen, no, I'm sorry. It was just a mistake. All this controversy, but anyways, yeah, you're welcome. Racer, thanks so much for your support. It's awesome to see you here, and everyone, you guys are awesome. But yeah, it comes to the idea when it comes to everything, and I find it amazing that everything that they say are lies. Everything that's in the Bible, it's the exact opposite. Have you ever noticed that? Just read something literally in the Bible and then go look at the science definition. It's exactly the opposite of what the Bible is if you took it literal. Whether it's the stars, whether it's the sun, the moon, earth, anything. If the Bible says the earth doesn't move, well, science says of course it moves. It flies all over the place, it wobbles, it does everything except being fixed, right? So it's like and that's how you kind of know something's going on, because why would they completely distort every single thing? And again, the argument would be, well, those guys were so stupid that they're so backwards. No, the lie, the evolutionary lie is that we're getting so much smarter. You know, this is what we hear all the time. It's like we're evolving, we're getting so much smarter. They were dumber in the past. If anything, they were a lot smarter than we were, to tell you the truth. I mean, we're not getting smarter. Our technology is enabling us to get stupider as time goes on. We have access to a lot of information, don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is there was a lot of intelligence, there was a lot of technology, and that's another lie of scientism. So getting into when someone brought up the giants, and also when it comes into the evolutionary lie, even the fact that people were stupid back and we're so much smarter now. No, another huge lie. And again, scientism is 100% behind it because as long as you believe they're dumb, you can discount anything, especially the Bible. So Lisa's bringing up wandering stars, and yeah, exactly. This is getting into planets, and I was talking about this on an interview the other day. And again, there is no such thing as planets. Planets is a relatively new word. They always were considered the wandering stars. And yeah, do they exist? Do they have different colors? Do they, could they be around? Sure. I'm not even discounting that. But what I'm saying is, what are they? What we're told, what NASA shows us, is definitely not the proper representation. There's a lot of great work being out there. If you're ever interested, type in flat Earth planets in YouTube. You can find a tremendous amount of information. You could Google it, find out some great articles. But again, I go out on a limb many times and say that one of the greatest deceptions that Satan really basically portrayed. Not so much getting into the reality of the world and stuff. That was all part of his scheming thing, and it all falls into place. But the idea that the Earth is a planet, the Earth is not a planet. I'm going to get T-shirts made. Earth is not a planet because again, that's has to be conveyed because when people understand that people start waking up and going, wait a minute, what's going on here? No, the Earth is never, it was never a planet. Everything in the sky is different than what we are on right now. We were created unique and special. We're not like everything in the sky. But that illusion of creating everything together, right? The illusion of saying we're like everything else out there and there's billions of other planets and we're just another planet and we can sustain life because, how far the sun away is. And these type of things are incredibly dangerous lies. And I think they affect us from a very early age, especially with children. Children are taught, I mean, nursery rhymes, I mean, textbooks, planets. How many planets? And remember, Earth is always included in that list. And stop and think for just, I mean, sometimes it's hard because we're so programmed in this idea, but the Earth is not a planet. And then people say, yeah, Earth is a plane. But the idea that it's not a planet really changes your outlook. If, for example, we were able just to take that out of the vernacular in the sense that no, everyone was just going to agree that the Earth isn't a planet, how would people start viewing things differently? If Earth wasn't a planet, well, what would it be? You know, but the idea that it's just another planet, give me a break, and they'll talk about Mars and it's got this atmosphere and it's gaseous and Saturn and rings and this is the big lie. And they'll talk about our atmosphere, being perfect and all this. And again, I for years, believe this because it started to make sense. It's like if there's a billion planets and God's going to make a special planet with us on, to sustain life, that all kind of starts making sense in your brain. But if you get back to the fact that that planets and again, even if you want to call them planets, because again, let's just, wandering stars, i.e. planets, just for example, the fact is Earth is not a wandering star. All right. There you go, right there. If you want to sum up exactly what I believe is Earth is not a wandering star. Can you even imagine in history people actually, when they believed in wandering stars, and that was the terminology for planets, how many of them, and can anyone find me something where they also believed the Earth was a wandering star? Please, if someone can find me, some science literature or whatever, back when they were considering all the planets, wandering stars, where they also considered the Earth a wandering star. No, it was like Earth. It was something different. But again, what they did is they came to a point when they came up with planets. Hey, let's just throw the Earth in there. That will confuse and deceive more people. Let's just put the Earth in as another planet, and we're all planets, and that's great. And then we're not even the biggest planet. And that was another thing that really didn't sit right with me. It's like God's going to create us unique and special and all that, but yet He's going to create other things that are bigger. And we're told in the universe there's better and there's all these sort of things. That didn't make sense. It's like we're not even the biggest of the planets. I mean, the sun is bigger than us. I mean, think of that logic. That in all if you're gonna work on a masterpiece, your prize project, why would you have it as like a dinky little thing with all these massive things around it, taking the focus off of your prized thing? And again, when we look at the Bible, it's considered like the pinnacle of his creation. It's like all these things are really real, and yet, I'm just going to throw a bunch of junk around it and stuff so you can hardly see it. That just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. If you're going to like show off, your creation and what you're proud of, I mean, you're going to highlight it. You're going to showcase it. And again, that's another thing. But for me, the Earth is definitely not a planet. The Earth is not a wandering star. So someone's asking about satellites. If you think those are wandering stars, I don't think that they're wandering stars. I mean, there's definitely stuff up there. I don't believe they're satellites as far as, the definition of what we've been taught. Um, Definitely not at all. Absolutely not at all. Um, and again, that was a big shocker for me coming to the realization in my research, like, wow, wow, like satellites don't exist. Like that's crazy. I mean, just think about that it's one thing talking about the shape of the Earth. It's like you can get your head around that a little bit better, but when someone says at the very beginning, satellites don't exist, your head explodes for a second. And I mean, for me, I was like, no, no, wait, 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 satellites have to exist. And I went looking and looking and looking. I got to find a real picture. I'm Googling, real picture of satellite. And I just couldn't, I still to this day can't find a real picture of a satellite in space. And this is ridiculous. We should have tons, right? We should have video footage. We should have satellites taking pictures of other satellites. And that's the thing. Most people are coming to this based on the fact of, try to find real photographs. They can't, yeah. And I mean, Crazy Wayne's talking about satellites can't exist, they would melt. And yeah, the extreme temperatures. And you know what's even crazier, Crazy Wayne, is they never break down. These things are like amazing. They just go. I mean, no one fixes them, no one replaces them. What about the meteor showers? Forget even the temperatures of crazy amounts, in Fahrenheit, Celsius, you know, crazy cold temperatures, crazy hot temperatures. But the fact that these things just work forever. I mean, what do we have here anywhere that works forever? Never, ever, ever breaks down. These things just go forever. I mean, the entire thing is ridiculous, but we all believe that. How can we all believe in something, but when we stop and we say, I just want to look into logic, it's like the ISS, right? We all believe in the ISS. And then we're like, well, wait a minute. The ISS is traveling at 17,500 miles. Now, think about that. Now, next time you're in your car, if you step on the gas, say you're on the interstate, and you could give it a good go, you could go, what are you going to get up to? What are you going to get up to? I don't know, 100, maybe 150. I mean, if you want to get really adventurous, can you imagine in your car traveling, if you could, full speed, even 1,000? I mean, the thing would disintegrate. I mean, it would fall apart. We're talking 17,500 miles an hour the ISS is going. My friends and I, we used to laugh about it because we're just like, how do you actually brake on that thing? I mean, do you be like, okay, we're gonna break, we got to break sometime in May, so let's hit the brakes now? Do they time it out so they've got at least a 3 month break time, or maybe not that long, but like, okay, next week we want to come to a stop, so let's hit the brakes now. I mean, how long would it take to come to a full stop doing 17,500 miles? Stuff like this. And that's the funny thing is we can laugh at this and it's funny. And I think that's the good thing that we're in. I mean, sometimes we can be down and we're getting a lot of attack and stuff, but sometimes it's good just to step back and laugh at it. And not pridefully, because we were all deceived with this. So we need to find ways and creative ways to like bring this topic up and get into discussions. And I find one of the most effective ways is bring up stuff like this. Like imagine the ISS. Okay, the thing is going 17,500 miles. Yes, you heard me right. And again, somebody's in the chat right now and they're just like, whoa, 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 that guy's nuts. He just said that the ISS is traveling over 15,000 miles an hour. Okay, he's blatantly lying. Dude, go do a search. Go look it up right now, and you're going to stop in your tracks. And see, that's the thing. When they stop in their tracks, they're kind of like, oh, it is over 15,000 miles an hour. Whoa. And that will kind of wake them up because then they start computing that and they're just like, That's incredibly fast." Like, do you understand how fast that is? When you're getting into Mach speed, when you're getting into the speed of sound. I mean, we can get into all these variables. We can laugh about it. And it's good. We have to laugh about these things sometimes. We have to have a good time because things are funny. I mean, some things are so ridiculously funny and it's tragic. But we can laugh about it, but then also we can be sad about it because so many people are being deceived by it. And they're not even being deceived by things that are logically, there. I mean, they don't even try with their CGI anymore. They don't even try with their, all these things. I just find it so incredible that it's like they don't even try to perpetuate this lie using incredibly sophisticated graphics where we can hardly understand or, break them down. We can break these things down all the time. I mean, just type in flat Earth ISS or just type in, NASA scam or whatever, NASA hoax or ISS hoax. Type these in and see it. I mean, there are so many videos being done about it. And someone's actually saying that it is 17,150 miles per hour. Okay, so someone just pulled, Michael just pulled it up. Thanks, Michael. So yeah, so it's 17,000 miles faster. Yeah, so and then the Earth is moving at 66,000 miles an hour around the sun, and yet, the ISS is doing, 17,000 miles per hour. So I said 17,500. I'm sorry, it was 17,150. Anyways, you get the idea. That's why I said it's over 15,000 miles an hour. And we used to laugh at that. We're like, can you imagine just driving your anything that fast? It would just disintegrate and fall apart. I mean, but these guys are in khakis, hanging out, playing the piano, just having a good old time, eating their tacos, in their little khakis and bare feet or whatever and socks. And it's just ridiculous. It's like, what if something punctured the ISS? What if like, this is heavy duty stuff. They don't have a care in the world. So there is some really funny videos. I've done a bunch on my channel where you just have to have fun with it and laugh at it. And I think that's something that we all have to look at sometimes is look at it and have a good laugh. I mean, it is funny. There's a seriousness to this topic, but it's also funny. And I think that we can use humor. And I've done this in my own life to people. I've used humor to bring up the topic. They're like, "Hey, I heard you believe in this," or because obviously I'm a public figure and I'm well known in that sense. So the topic is already there. I don't have the luxury of playing it around unless I'm meeting a stranger on a plane or something. But when it's right there, I just get into these absurdities. I don't even focus on the shape of the Earth. I just get into like different things. Again, NASA. I know that there's quite a few people that are looking to break down the lies of NASA, and I think it's a worthy while pursuit because I think NASA is kind of like where everything breaks down. Again, i.e., the moon landing, like I said before, the moon landing is pivotal. It's pivotal. We need to actually address that big time because once you crack that foundation, people will be open to going further. And what happens? What's a bigger lie than the moon landing? Flat Earth. If you were to take out flat Earth completely, just remember pre-flat Earth, what would you say was the greatest deception? I mean, for me, honestly, in the conspiracy scale, it was flat Earth. I remember talking to people in truther circles, and the fact that I didn't believe in the moon landing, they thought I was crazy. Yet they didn't believe in 9/11 or chemtrail, but they still, oh yeah, they landed on the moon. So for me, the upper echelon, other than lizard men run the Earth. But what I'm saying is these type of things, it was the moon landing. So if you take out flat Earth, the moon landing is right there as the most outrageous in the conspiracy circles. I mean, there's quite a few people out there that are talking about a lot of great topics and stuff, but they still believe they landed on the moon. So to me, that's your pivotal point. That's your point of attack. You have to break down NASA because everyone likes to just everything is supported by NASA. Again, we were talking about tonight ISS, and we're talking about this and talking about that. So flat Earth or flat stuff sorry, flat stuff Earth is bringing up firmament. And again, that's another huge deal. And, anyone that's really, reading the Bible, really looking at that seriously, you have to come with the firmament. You have to look at it seriously. And I think it's really important for anyone to look into the firmament because for me, it was a huge deal. When I came to the firmament, I was like, wow, this is absolutely incredible when it came to my understanding. I mean, how many times had I read the Bible and just passed by that? But understand that the firmament doesn't just explain, why it's there, how it's there, what's going on, but it also talks about the fact that it was there to separate the waters from the waters. That's a huge deal. If you understand the fact that up there, up above your head, there is water. Seems crazy, but then again, do a search for it. Look into it. I'm saying that the Bible says there's water above us. There's water below us, but there's water above us. So to me, that's a huge deal. And again, focusing on that, if you're talking to someone that's really, loves the Bible, Christian, whatever, then focus on the firmament, man, because you just, again, it's conveying something. It's telling that it separated the waters from the waters. People say, well, what about the flood? All that water, came down. Well, there's other books after the flood that talk about the water still being up there. So the water is never ever gone. I mean, maybe some water came down, sure. But, and again, getting into the flood, it makes a lot more sense when you're getting into enclosed cosmology, when you're getting into the windows of heaven opening up. And I remember early on when I started reading Genesis afterwards, sure enough, three water sources even after the fact. If you look after the flood occurred, it says that the windows of heaven shut, the fountains of the deep closed, and the rain from the clouds stopped. Those are three water sources. A lot of people like to say, oh, it was raining, it was raining, it was raining, it flooded the earth. Look at that again. Not only does it talk about three water sources, it tells you them shutting off. after. I think it's fascinating. It's not it was like almost like, give it a pass, but God made sure that you saw it both ways, that it's like there was no mistaking the fact that it wasn't just rain that flooded the earth, or it was just water from the clouds. You had three water sources, and so many Christians believe in the fountains of the deep. No problem. Oh yeah, yeah, there's water below us, no problem. Water above us, nah. And that's the crazy thing. There's water below us and there's water above us. People want to say, hey, what's below us? Someone had brought up a question about that. Water. What's above us? Water. I don't know how high, I don't know where, and stuff like this, but I know based on the definition, based on the firmament, where's that water? It's above the firmament, because the firmament was there to separate the waters from the waters. So no, it's a great question, and it's awesome. And again, Fe Racer X is mentioning that Fe makes Noah's flood make way more sense, and it's totally true, Racer. It really is, and it makes the Tower of Babel make more sense. I mean, for years I would struggle with the Tower of Babel because I'm just like, why, that verse in the Bible where it says, you know, there was a concern there, and it says, let us go down and confound their language, right? And I think it's an amazing way of showing how God can deal with something, in a benevolent, passive way. Just change your language, they all separate, they stop building it, away we go, right? We got all these different languages, all these different tribes of people. But what's interesting in that verse is it says, we need to go down and do this because whatever they believe they will now achieve. Something took place there, and if you're getting into the extra biblical books and stuff like that, it starts to explain that they were building a tower, trying to find the windows of heaven, trying to get in and kill God. This is like the Nimrod account. Rob Skiba's done some extraordinary work on it, but I found it so fascinating to think about the fact that they believe there's something up there. Now, what's different in the Tower of Babel or NASA? NASA's up there too. I'm not saying that there's anything going on, but there's things going on. They're trying to get up. We know that through the blast that were going on with the missiles that Russia and U.S. were sending up there. With the Operation Fishbowl, we can see that with just stuff they're launching up. They're doing the same type of nonsense. I mean, they were building a tower back in the Tower of Babel, but now we've got all these, ascension type of thing. And you read in the Bible, it was Lucifer that wanted to ascend above the stars. He wanted to be lofty and make a nest above the star, in the stars. Again, you see the pursuit not of man to go up. It's always been Lucifer, and that's what you see in the Bible. Furthermore, in Isaiah, it talks about the fact that the earth was given to men to govern, not the heavens. It goes so far as to say, the earth I've given to men for dominion, but the heavens is the Lord's. So again, we see something as well where we have the earth was given, dominion to men, but the heavens are the Lord's. Means you're not supposed to go there. So who would want to go there? Lucifer, because he's just like that. He likes to do everything he's not supposed to do, and then he wants to propel men to feel the same way and do it. So again, this whole illusion, this whole idea, and again, I put it in Scientism Exposed 2 with the clip from William Shatner talking about how science and science fiction is one and the same. They're both the same. So yeah, Jesus is Lord Games talks about Operation Fishbowl. It's a dead giveaway to a solid firmament, and absolutely. And there's a lot of talk on it. And again, when you look at that video footage, it does look like they're hitting something. It really does. They're sending stuff up, stuff's rebounding or whatever. You're seeing explosions, and who knows exactly. And then people say, "Well, what's it made of? And what's this?" I mean, I don't know. I don't think that we'll ever know. I don't think that they can get up there and take samples of it, and but maybe they can. I don't know. These are the type of things. It's like well guarded, and the idea of like what's past Antarctica and how far is it? It might be incredibly far, and to me, it makes a lot of sense that things would be almost further back because it's almost like you go high up. You start losing oxygen, it's harder to breathe. You go down in the ocean, the pressure gets so extreme, you'll implode kind of thing, right? So what I'm saying is any which way you go on Earth, and again, think of it as a round, plane. If you try to go down, it's tough. If you go up, it's tough. If you try to go out, it's tough. And how is it tough? Not to mention just the water and salt water and all that, but then you get into extreme cold. So I just find it interesting, the way that's all kind of plays together. That yes, you can go, but I think a lot of people would turn back. But the people that really want to go out and know what's going on, they had the equipment, they went out there. It'd be so easy. It would so be easy to protect it. It really would. Even if we were able to go down to Antarctica, how far and how cold would it get to go as far as we would need to actually even see, where the firmament started? Like my understanding, and again, I don't know, but I look at it more like, it could be like a a quarter or a dime inside of a basketball in the sense that it goes way out. Like if you look at where that basketball is, and you look at a dime inside of it, say the dime is the earth and it's like, the edge, the thing could be way outside past that edge. So yes, I think there's, the boundaries are put in place, but how far would we have to go to get to, start seeing the firmament? Who knows? I just know that the Bible says firmament's there. And, it's very, very simple to see that we're dealing, with what the Bible says. I believe what the Bible says, but I don't have all the answers. And I make sure that when I'm trying to convey to people, as far as a model, I don't have any given model. My model is a Bible or a biblical model. Um, you know, as far as specifics, I really don't know. But if it follows a line with the Bible, I'm going to go there. If it contradicts the Bible, I'm going to throw it out. And people say, "Well, that's not very. That's just me." And then that's kind of the way I live my life. If something contradicts the Bible for me is like the arbiter of truth. So how do I discern things all around me? I discern it based on the Bible. And I think it's a wonderful thing. And I say this to people all the time. I'm like, how do you know what's truth? And to me, can you imagine living life never, ever, ever knowing what's truth? It's a scary proposition, but so many people are living that way. But to me, when you come down to the Bible, there is a way that we can live life knowing the truth. We might not like the truth, but we can know the truth. We can know lies. And that's what I say to a lot of people. We may not know all the truths, but we can definitely discern from lies that are going on based on the fact that they are not backed up in the Bible. And that's what we're seeing with flat Earth. We're seeing a lot of people waking up to the fact that, wow, the Bible is right. Maybe they don't come 100%, maybe they don't like a lot of things it says, but they're like, when it comes to creation, yeah, I can't really dispute it much. I haven't run into too many people that, have opened the Bible and really, really gone to town on the creation parts of it. They'll say, oh, I don't agree with this, and I don't like this, and I don't like this, and they cherry pick the Bible. But when it comes to creation, they're kind of like, yep, oh, yeah, yeah. The earth doesn't move. The Bible says the earth doesn't move. Cool. So it's a very, very neat thing to think about when you're getting into it. And we have more questions here, and they're getting into the aurora borealis. I mean, there's some definite things going on that are really hard to explain. But this is the beauty of God's creation, is that we can be in awe and wonder. Just again, when we look at the stars, when we look at certain things that are going on, and really, you can look into the scientific explanation. But you have to analyze it and you have to say, wait a minute, does it fall in line? And sure, there's not everything is in the Bible, but really, if all of a sudden it's basically being put together to create more of an atheistic worldview or to basically destroy, God in people's minds, then I think you definitely need to throw it out. You really need to throw it out because again, this is the whole aim of what scientism is about. Everyone says, "Oh, they're just a bunch of atheists." No, they're not atheists. They hate God. You can clearly see it. I've done so many documentaries, I've done so many videos showing the pure hatred they have for Yahweh, for God of the Bible, for Jesus, for the Messiah, all these sort of things. They do not go out of their way to attack Buddha. They do not go out of their way to attack, New Age religions or this. They take pot shots at the Bible and they go against Jesus and the Messiah. This is what they do. You can clearly see it. Like you got Lawrence Krauss saying, forget Jesus for dying for you. Thank the stars. They died to birth us. I mean, this is the narratives, is that the stars died so that we could be born. So they have their own spirituality. There's spirituality inside scientism. Understand that. Scientism is not just, science or an atheistic, deception. It's a very spiritual deception, and I've gone through that with my films and with my videos on my channel. It's a very, very nasty, ugly religion, but it's very spiritual in nature, and there's definitely someone behind it. And you can clearly see it. Watch Scientism Exposed, then watch the sequel, Scientism Exposed 2. You will clearly see exactly how it's all kind of being mapped together. And I wanted to come out with that to explain to people, wait a minute, do you want to live your whole life holding on to something that you believe to be the truth because it's science when it's scientism all along? And a lot of people have written me saying, I never knew this was scientism. I thought that was science. I never knew that was scientism. So even the word scientism is really starting to open up dialogue. It's starting to have people look into things more. And when I say scientism, I'm including NASA in there with their nonsense, with their ISS traveling at 17,500. So there's so many funny things we can talk about with NASA. And again, it's pretty funny. So Crazy Wayne's talking about gravity. How come clouds float? Yeah, it's a great thing. And then there's also a ton of more, when it comes to gravity, and that's always a tough one for a lot of people. But yeah, you only need gravity when you're on a spinning ball flying through space. Think about that. I mean, sometimes it's really hard. We're so programmed, we cannot think of a world without gravity. Now, there's ways, I mean, there's a whole other discussion when you're getting into buoyancy and density and electromagnetic, and there's different models. But what I'm saying is you need gravity to put all this nonsense together. And again, all this, like, if you take gravity out, how much could they even explain? Even though a lot of their explanations are ridiculous, but how much could they explain without gravity? Right, about the universe? None, zero, like zilch, right? So the fact is, it's just a beautiful thing to have. You got your G in your pocket. You pull out your G whenever you need it. It's like, hey, how come the sun does this and the moon does? Gravity, gravity, gravity. On the show I did there with the Controversy Seven, our show Controversial Truth. We joke around about that, but it's the answer for everything. It's just not. It just is. It's just like, hey, how come this works? How come that doesn't? Yeah, gravity, gravity, gravity. So we have fun with it. We laugh about it, and it's pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, electromagnetism. He's talking about Crazy Wayne's talking about that, and it explains a lot of stuff. And again, this is the thing. We're looking into all these models. There's lots of great work being done, but the idea that gravity. I mean, how is gravity scientific? I mean, it's a theory, right? But it's not scientific. I mean, it's the least scientific thing. You know, I would say evolution is more scientific than gravity. And what I'm saying by that is there's macroevolution, there's microevolution, there's aspects of evolution that are fine. A dog becomes another type of dog, but a cat doesn't become a dog. So there's absurdities in evolution, right? But there's some truth in some forms of evolution in the sense that things adapt within their own kind. So, but there's nothing in truth about gravity. There's nothing it couldn't be like microgravity and macrogravity. It's all gravity is a hoax. It's nonsense. It doesn't exist. But it's hard for people. You're going to find when you're talking to them, they'll go back to gravity and gravity. And these are the things we need to break down. We need to get to all the absurdities. Let's get into NASA. And I just think that really the job's easier when you can start to have the humor, break down the lies of NASA and scientism. And that's kind of what this channel has all been about. I've done a lot of stuff on flat Earth, but specifically about scientism and NASA, because I think it's really important when you break it down. And it's just an endless amount of stuff that people are coming out with, breaking down the lies of scientism. It's just unbelievable to me. All the absurdities with NASA, and just unbelievable. I just can't get over how many people are deceived by the lies of NASA. But I mean, I was too. So I kind of take that into account when I'm talking to people, and I'm not just laughing and being prideful about it. I'm like, man, I believed in NASA for a long time, and I should be ashamed of myself too, because I mean, I'm reading the Bible, I'm doing this. So for me, it's almost like this is a topic where we really have to show some patience and really love, because it's tough. I mean, we might have been laughed at a certain point. How would that feel? So we just need to, be careful. But again, it's like being the better person. We definitely are. Our names get dragged through the mud. People laugh at us, call us all sorts of names. But you know what? They did that to Jesus, and it's like, how did he react? So I just kind of go with that. I go by that example, try my best. I'm not perfect and I'm learning. I don't have all the answers. And I always say that to people, like I'm learning like every one of you. I've been very passionate about this, very involved in putting out a lot of videos and a lot of material. But again, I don't have all the answers. I'm learning. I'm asking God every day to kind of direct my path, teach me new things, and know what I need to know. I mean, sometimes we don't need to know everything. We need to know what's important at that time, and that's kind of what I fall on. So, to me, but to me, that's important. So, anyways, Frank's saying that not Satan, but satanic, as far as I think it's getting into like Islam and stuff like that. So, Robert is asking who started the deception and why. Robert, I would say that, when you're starting to say who as an individual or something, it's not really, a question as far as who or what agency. I believe that Lucifer was behind this, from day one. The deception was incredibly important because what he needed to do was to break out the deception and give the world an understanding to kill God in people's minds. So yeah, so I mean, Jacob's saying that Satan started it, Jesuits propagated it, all these sort of things. These are all true, absolutely, and it only makes sense if even if you don't believe, you got to start just almost like pretend or look at it as hypothetical. Okay, if there was this evil being that was trying to keep every way from God and the truth, how would you do it? How would you do it? And again, Romans, it's very clear in the Bible. If you read Romans 1, it talks about the creation, looking at creation, what God created is the number one way that people know that He exists, that the true Creator exists. It says they will not have excuse because they know through creation. So if that is true, and you're the adversary, what's the number one way you're going to assault? You're going to assault people's understanding of knowing the true God, creation. So to me, this is just a given. It would have been in play for a very long time. And people say, well, how come a lot of people didn't, wake up to this and stuff? Again, it started in stages, and it's almost like, while he doesn't have power to distort reality, his only power is that you will believe his lies. He can put a lie in your head, and if you choose to take hold of that, you basically own that. It becomes you. He owns you. But he can't distort reality. He can't have you see something that you're not seeing in that sense. So when you look out with your five senses, what do you see? That's the truth. That's the truth. It only took someone convincing you that no, 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 dude, no, no, no. I know it looks like that, but it's not. It's really this. Dude, I know that you can't feel it with your senses, that you're, spinning and wobbling and flying through the universe and stuff like this, but it's true. But my five senses, I feel like we're still. No, 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 you're not still. You're wobbling and flying and traveling around the galaxy at just unheard of speeds. Oh, okay. Yeah, it feels like this. Oh, no, 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 you're really on a spinning ball. So what I'm saying is it's the lies that you take hold, and that's what you listen to kind of go to that next level. So I believe this would be in motion for a very long time. It's a very, very hard thing to explain in a brief manner. But again, just know that it's been put in place. There's been many agencies and many people involved. Why? Because they're all being governed by Satan. Satan has dominion on earth. I mean, if you read the Bible, it literally says that he is the God of this world. Again, he's been given dominion in that sense where he's been given that authority. So again, if you're not for God, you're against him. So again, you could be used by, Satan any which way he wants, like a puppet. You could just be used and you might not even know you're being used. And it's not like a lot of these people, are walking around, waking up every day trying to deceive the world. There are people out there like that, but there are some people that are just going about their day based on what they learned or what the teacher told them or what their parents taught them. They don't know. They don't know. And so it's a tragedy, but also that's why it's important that if you have woken up, you do know the truth, that we need to, convey this. We need to tell people about the reality. And really, when it comes down to it, it brings people back to the truth that there is a creator, that we were created special, that we're not a random accident. We're not a speck of dust, floating around the Milky Way galaxy. This is nonsense, but this is what Satan's agenda was. And again, I don't know if you just joined, but earlier on, I was talking about one of the greatest deception was when everyone talks about planets, saying that the Earth is a planet. The Earth is not a planet. The Earth is not a wandering star. So, take that to the bank. The fact is we're unique and different than anything else that we see in the sky, And again, as you follow it, as you look in the Bible, and as we're looking with our own observations and with technologies like the P900 camera, what we're seeing is lining up with the Bible. What does it say in the Bible? They're lights. What do we see when we look in the P900? We see a lot of flickering lights. We see lots of colorful lights. What's interesting there as well, it says with the stars in the Bible that each one has a different glory, means that each one is unique and different. Kind of like a snowflake. If anyone has ever looked at a snowflake, if you're in a climate that gets snow, every single snowflake is different. There's not one snowflake the same. Kind of like us, everyone is created different. We're all completely different. There's not one exactly the same. Unique. But again, when it comes to the stars, everything that we see in the sky kind of thing, when it comes to the stars, they're all unique. And it says in the Bible, they all had different glories, all radiances and stuff like this. Now, when you zoom in with the P900, Nikon P900 camera, what do you see? For the people that don't have a P900 and are looking on YouTube and looking at the videos, what you're seeing is the truth. I have one. I've zoomed in. It's there. You could see different frequencies, different colors. It's an amazing thing. And again, they're supposed to be like, light years away. One light year is 7 trillion miles away. Let that sink in just for a few minutes, right? And I've done this before, talking to people on planes and when I'm traveling and stuff, like getting into their nonsense distances they're seeing with their magical telescopes. One light year is 7 trillion miles away. So what do we do with some star that's 21 light years away? That's, it's incredible. It's like 7 times 21. Do the math, anyone, and then add, a trillion after it. I mean, a trillion. Put the zeros after that and see how big a trillion is. You imagine just even, traveling 1 trillion. forget 7 trillion on 1 light year, So these are the distances they're telling us when it comes to stars, yet we're zooming in on them and we're seeing it just like the Bible said as lights, just as lights. So I'll keep going back to that. It's just lights and nothing more. And I'm sure a lot of people would say the same thing. So, um, CPT Crunch, when Rustin Vids was playing here the first time, I was here. It was from YouTube, or were they playing a file locally? Okay, so just so everyone knows, if they're not familiar with the channel, normally I have on the channel, if I'm and I do upload new videos, and if you subscribe and you click the notification bell, like where it says subscribe, you're going to see like a little area where it says notifications. If you actually click, get all notifications. Anytime I put up a new video, you'll get notified. It will say, Celebrate Truth has put up a new video. So I do put out new videos while this 24-hour live stream is going on. So when I'm not doing this, which I don't normally do live Q&As, it's basically on live. So the live stream is basically playing kind of the best flat earth, like biblical flat earth videos. And like I mentioned before, there's a lot of great content that plays 24/7. So anytime, doesn't matter, you could wake up in the middle of the night or during the day, anytime you come to Celebrate Truth on YouTube, you're going to see something on. It's not live in the sense that it's happening right then. You're just seeing something anytime you want. So it's on live all the time, is what that means. But I mean, there's videos from like Rob Skiba and like Pastor Dean Odell and like Russian vids, like you had mentioned, and like Carlos and Math and D13 and all, some really, really amazing, like Watchmen of the Harvest, Mr. Moot, Mig someone was mentioning before with all the Jesuit work that he's done. I feature that. I feature his videos also here. If you're interested in any videos that you see, um, just go into the description of the video and I have everyone's channel there. I've got Mig Mags, I've got Rob Skibas, I've got, so all those different channels that are playing on the 24-hour live stream, they're in there. So that's exactly what Celebrate Truth Live was. I created it in such a way that someone at all times could come and learn about the Bible and flat earth. So it's not necessarily live that it's happening. So if you're watching an interview, usually you can look at the date on the screen or whatever, but it might be a interview I've done or someone else, and it would be in the past. It's more just for education. If you're looking for something that is live, it would be announced like this, where I'm doing, a Q&A with Robbie Davidson live, or, it's an interview live. But when it just says flat Earth in the Bible, it's Celebrate Truth, then it's that. So, Nick is asking, can you get a hold of Russian Vids? Yeah, I can get a hold of him. I haven't talked to him actually in a while. I've been super busy for quite some time, but yeah, I've definitely talked with him, quite a few times. Mainly on Skype and stuff like that. But yeah, he's great. He's done a lot of amazing stuff. I don't know if he's currently doing stuff. I know that I think his channel kind of went down, then it came up, and I think he's doing something under a different channel right now, or maybe not. I'm not sure, but I wouldn't really worry. He definitely will be back if he's not on right now. He takes his breaks and then he comes back on. But extraordinary. He's put out so much amazing stuff, over the years, and really, really great guy. Awesome. Um, Tommy saying Jesus is the true Lord. Amen, Tommy. Absolutely. Um, Michael, thanks so much for all the support. And like I said, back to the moderators, thank you so much. You guys are really awesome. If anyone ever has like issues or something, like I said, overall, I mean, it's really good. If you felt that something happened or whatever, reach out to me. Like I said, I can't even count on one hand the instances that have happened in almost a year that I've had Celebrate Truth going. But again, I understand things do happen. And if you feel that you've been banned unfairly, reach out to me and, state your case, or we'll talk and we'll see what can be done. But I definitely believe in second chances. But usually the moderators definitely know when there's really no, sense. It's just complete, just awful people coming in, just really being cruel, and I don't really tolerate that. So, but I definitely will contact that. Thanks so much, Jesus is Lord Games. Appreciate that. It's awesome that you came by. Haven't seen you in quite some time, and there's no banning anymore, right? Follow Jesus says. So yeah, I say there's banning. It's just the last. It's kind of like if you look at all your options, it's like, warn, time out, da da da, and then ban at the end. You'll know. I mean, I think for most people can have good discernment. Yes, there's time to ban, but I would say that's a really extreme case. And usually you got to kind of send someone out before you get to a point of banning them. A banning is pretty final. It really is. I mean, there's ways that people can create an account, come back in, whatever. But if they're creating an account, coming back in and clowning around again, then it's probably good that you ban them. But, I think that banning is really final where someone might just had a bad night. Maybe, they haven't, properly thought things through. I don't know. But again, I'm not against banning. I'm just like, don't ban, as your first option. Wait for a little bit, kind of get a good sense of it, and if you feel of it, ban it. But if they're coming in and they're just like F this, F this, F this, F this, warn them, and they keep going, F this, then just ban them. Someone like that just absolutely has no regard whatsoever, zero. Yeah, there's just, focus your attention on people that at least, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to swear, or I'll try not to, and they do again, or something like that. But someone that just you can usually tell someone's coming in and cause a lot of problems. So question, have you noticed it seems like you are looking at the stars through water when you zoom in? So 420 Fire Ministry Ohio asks about that. And yeah, I mean, there's definitely flickering in there. The whole twinkle, twinkle, little star, wonder what you are. Why do stars twinkle? And if you actually look at the scientism definition, it's just absolutely crazy. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And again, yeah, there is a twinkling like that. And again, when you start looking at light in water and stuff like that, you can get the same properties. There's some amazing videos done on like on light in water. Remember, what we're dealing with stars is light. And yeah, I mean, when we read the Bible, what does it say? There's water above us. So if those lights are in water, in some case and scenario, and all these type of things, there's water that plays into this. Definitely. Could it be water behind? Could it be water ahead? Like again, these are the things we can look at, but it definitely does, and it would make a lot of sense, and it would make furthermore sense that we really would never ever to go there. It'd just be too tough. But again, I look at it like if the firmament wasn't here, we would all drown. Like think about that, And again, we would all drown at any moment. Next time, that's funny. I was just thinking that, and you actually just posted that. But yeah, it's totally true. We would drown. So when the flood happened and those, not the floodgates, but sorry, the windows of heaven opened up, there was water that came down that filled it up, and then it kind of closed up. The flood, it receded. It's like a bathtub. It's like the fountains of the deep. You got like a plug. Where'd the water go? Well, it went under, right? Where water come? It came from above. But what I'm saying is, if those windows weren't shut and it kept just flowing and flowing and flowing, it would eventually just drown, everything forever. But if the firmament wasn't there, yeah, it'd just be water. Because remember, read Genesis. What was here before anything else? Water. That's the extraordinary part. Like, and that's the part that's really tough to wrap your head around. That the spirit was hovering, on the water. Like, there's water. I mean, water is, and that's a really interesting discussion because water is kind of a property, but also it's everything. So, I mean, before anything was even created, there was water. And the firmament was put in place to actually make something in the sense that everything's contained inside, the water. So really, I mean, I think Rob Skiba says this really well when he brings up his illustrations. But really, we're in kind of like a bathysphere in the sense that there's all water around us. And a lot of people talk about the flood or before, when men could live, really old and like animals were big, kind of like dinosaurs. It's because the atmospheric conditions were different. Why were they different? Because there was a different atmosphere. So what changed? The flood. Well, how did that change things? The atmosphere changed. So to me, it all lines up because again, when you allow a pressure to be released or increased, you're going to change the atmospheric conditions. Therefore, people are not going to live as long, or animals aren't going to grow as big. I mean, reptiles are the only animal group that never stop growing. So we've seen some pretty big crocodiles, and we've seen some. What happens if they were, it said that man, would live to like 6, 7, 800 years old. How, long were they living? So CPT asked if dinosaurs. You have to watch Scientism Exposed too. I go into dinosaurs a lot. Yeah, I do believe that they're real. I think that there's a lot that aren't real at all. I believe it's all part of the deception in the sense of the years, millions of years ago, dinosaurs existed. I believe that dinosaurs existed with men. And when I'm saying dinosaurs, I'm not saying all, species of dinosaurs. There's definitely ones the Bible talks about as incredibly large, like the behemoth, and there's other ones, and you can read that. The fact of the matter was that something happened, and the reality is they could be even around right now. But They did not live millions of years ago. They did not live before man. That is all lies. Even the evolutionists, the ones that would fight, the creationists would fight the evolutionists, already knew this. And I know there's been like a lot of talk out there that dinosaurs are all fabricated, none of it's real. I wouldn't go that far at all. And I think that's kind of a dangerous to say that they all don't exist. Again, we read in the Bible that they did exist. They did exist with men. But did a T-Rex live? Is that a fabrication? Is that part of the Nephilim, the Watchers? Like again, they started mixing, messing with animals. So I think some of them could be real, some of them could be totally faked. I think the majority of them, with museums and stuff, that's all completely faked. I mean, that's just nonsense. They don't know anything as far as like, what skin was like or this or that. But there has been a lot of amazing finds. And when I was shooting Scientism Exposed 2, I got to see exactly some excavations, how they do it. And I was absolutely blown away because for me, I was kind of like, oh, okay, what's going on here? But when I saw the lime rock and I saw the levels of lime rock they would have to dig in order to get to different layers to see dinosaur tracks. And what's really cool, watch Scientism Exposed 2. I actually walked where they found human footprints and dinosaur tracks in the same sediment layer. Yes, I said that right. Human footprints and dinosaur tracks, a theropod or whatever, in the same sediment layer. Now, the sediment layer was dug, for years and years and years, and they have to go layer by layer by layer. I looked at it myself. There is no way to fake it. Like you just could not fake it. And I would challenge anyone. I'd give them $100,000 if you could figure out how to fake lime rock with multiple witnesses digging under there because the stuff is massively heavy and it's impossible to do. But regardless, I digress. When you're getting into dinosaurs, yes, there's lots of fakes out there. The storyline is put in mainly for children, but it follows through with adults. How many of us watched Jurassic Park? I love Jurassic Park. It was crazy, right? But that's the thing. Space follows us through our life. We learn as children. We're fascinated. Now we start going to Star Wars movies and Star Trek and all that. Dinosaurs, but it's not just that follows us through and keeps us hooked. We give, dinosaurs to our kids. It perpetuates the entire lie on the origins. This is where you came from. This is where you're going. So I always say that dinosaurs tell us our past and space tells us our future, where we're going. Eventually, we're going to get off this planet and we're going to go live somewhere else because we're going to blow the planet up. What I'm saying is they have two narratives. Both are lies, but both perpetuates the entire evolutionary Big Bang, heliocentric cosmology nonsense lie. And that's the troublesome thing here. And dinosaurs are put in place to capture children's hearts, to capture their attention, but to pound into them that basically millions and millions of years ago. And you see this in cartoons, and it's just nonsense. So I talked about this early on, getting into all the propaganda with space, getting into dinosaurs. I mean, I've done a couple. I did. If you type in "celebrate truth," flat Earth children or kids, you'll see a couple ones I did with kids, how they indoctrinate them. But I could do a pile of videos when it comes into just how much they hit dinosaurs and stuff like this. Again, the narrative is always the same, millions of years ago. And then what do we hear how they died? What do we hear how they died? Oh, a meteor, or whatever, dust went up and all this stuff. And it's like they have no clue. Yet that's the scientific narrative, but they have no clue whatsoever. So it's really sad when you see this. But again, it's all built in together. And again, flat Earth was kind of the thing that was just so high up that basically it was almost like, these were assaulted where it was like Satan allowed these things to get attacked and get critiqued. As long as we were focusing in on evolution, and as long as we were focusing in on here, we'd never look at the reality of our world. We would just look at, what, the origins in the sense that we came from monkeys. So I think it was a really important play. It's almost like Darwin was the scapegoat. So many people already came to the lies of evolution. They were already looking at Darwin and the nonsense. But while they were looking at Darwin as the fall guy, they never looked at Copernicus. They never looked at Isaac Newton. I mean, he was the only evil guy. Apparently, everyone was cool. And then, Darwin, he was a little, sketchy. But the fact was, all these guys were put in place by Satan one by one through different generations to get to the point. Evolution couldn't have existed without the Big Bang cosmology. And for so long, up until recently, no one was really investigating the Big Bang. It was interesting. It was like even in churches and even with Christians, they were attaching God to the bang. They're saying, the science narrative is nothing became something, exploded and created everything. So you say that nothing became everything. I'm saying that God created everything. It's like God spoke everything into existence. So we just attach God to a lie. And that's why I think it's so incredibly dangerous and I did this myself. I would be in debates all the time. I'd be like, okay, so you believe nothing created everything, and I say God created everything. I mean, who's stupider, right? Again, I thought I was kind of on the high ground there because I'm like, creator created everything. You say nothing created everything. Nothing. How does nothing create anything? Show me that scientifically. So to me, on a logical, debate level, you already won. You won. I mean, anyone logically looking at that argumentation, you have to win. Something, in order to be created, there has to be a creator. It just makes sense. Saying nothing. If they had gone back and said that, this alien had created us, and that's, by the way, in Scientism Exposed too, I get into that a lot more with the aliens. But again, if they had said anything created us rather than nothing, they might have had something. But they said nothing created everything. And it's like, well, what the heck, right? So I just attached God to it as many other people did. So I never focused on cosmology, never focused on the Big Bang. What happens if you focus on the Big Bang? And again, that's where we're all at. We're all focusing back right to the root of this lie. Oh my goodness, the entire thing was a lie. There was no Big Bang. There is no universe. There is no planets. The Earth is not a wandering star. We are fixed. We're stationary. We're unique. We're special. Everything revolves around us. We don't. We're here and we were created for a purpose. Bang. There it is. That's it. You want to sum it up? There it is. Fourth Amendment, Brian, good to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time. I saw on Discord and popped in. Yeah, I'm glad you came. I didn't know. I didn't have a chance to do Discord. Someone said that someone announced it, but I kind of threw this on. But yeah, what's your question? Brian and I have talked a few times, but he's saying, in believing in the flat Earth. Okay, is believing in the flat Earth a salvational issue? Some Christian flat earthers seem to think it is, and I have a hard time grasping why they feel this way. I would say, Brian, the easiest way to look at that. I think we get really passionate on things, and this can be for anything. This can be like getting into days of the week, the names of Jesus or Yeshua, or it could be in flat Earth cosmology, or it could be evolution. Like, how could you be a Christian and believe in evolution, right? I mean, there's a lot of people already believe in that. And while I scratch my head, I don't know. I've known really, really good, godly people in life that have shown nothing but fruit their entire life and done amazing things. Um, and they still believe in evolution. Weird, But again, to go so far as to say it's salvational, no. With this topic, I do not believe it's salvational. I was on Now You See TV a couple nights ago, and the question was asked as well from the listening audience. And I said, no, I think it's incredibly important, but I think that we need to look at the idea that really the gospel is paramount here. It is the most important. Understand that if it's salvational, 4 years ago, then I was doomed. I was damned to hell. And I mean, I'll tell you one thing, God had led me on an amazing walk into many ministries, doing many things. And the idea that basically I was just doomed because I didn't believe in geocentrism, or I didn't believe that we're on a, flat earth, that I believed in a globe. The idea, that's where it's at. But we're on different levels, and sometimes it takes people a long time to come to these issues. Sometimes it doesn't. So it's tough sometimes. But the answer, just to sum it up, is no, I don't believe it's salvational. Don't get me wrong, though. I believe it's important. But there's a lot of things important. It's almost like when I say truth is important. How many truths do you think there are? Let's just say there's 10,000 truths that we could know, possibly. I mean, there's going to be way more in life. What if in your lifetime you're only supposed to focus on 50 truths? 50. Okay? So your 50 truths are passionate to you. God's put that in you, instilled in you. They're really important. You want to get that out to the world. But yet somebody else has another 50 truths that are important. So what I'm saying is we don't have enough time in our whole life to go through every single truth. And what truth is not important? So sometimes it's hard to elevate it. And what we love to do is we elevate a truth to the highest level of truth. No, this is the most important. It's the most important. I'm going to go back to it time and time again. The most important is the gospel. They need to understand that they need a savior. They need to understand the redemptive plan that God had, that God loves them. They were created. This is really important. It doesn't matter at the end of the day if you don't understand that, because again, it's not based on our merit. It's based on what he did, not what we do. So again, it comes back to, and again, this is the whole essence of Celebrate Truth, right? John 14:6. I and all my videos with this verse. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one come to the Father except through me. This is Jesus' claim. So here's the three scenarios. Either he is a lunatic, either he's a liar, or he's Lord. That's it. So again, if you study his life and you don't believe he's a lunatic and you don't believe he's a liar, if he truly indeed is the Messiah, he is the Lord. What I'm saying is that is the reality here you have to look at. If he is telling the truth, everything is changed. Means that if people don't recognize him as the truth, they're in trouble. They're in big trouble, according to Jesus, right? So it's not like me trying to like tell people how to live. It's Jesus himself saying you're in big trouble if you don't. So regardless what people believe, that is the most important. Now, we love to discuss and argue, among us, as Christians once we already believe that truth. And I think that's a way that Satan kind of distracts us sometimes and gets us fighting with one another when we really should be going out and trying to reach the world and spread the truth and the gospel. This to me is the most important. But it's normal. I've done it. We've all done it. You can't beat yourself up for it. We all do it, but we learn in time that let's not raise these issues where we start breaking unity with in our own ranks in the sense with our brothers and sisters. It's tough, and we need to actually support one another, and it's going to be tough. Name one person in your life that you know really well that you believe 100% every single thing the same in every single topic. Impossible. Even husbands and wives disagree, as long as it's not a central doctrine. If it's secondary doctrine, fine. And I would say that flat earth, the same thing when it comes to other topics, are secondary, but they're important. And again, someone might think that one thing is really important. Like, well, someone says, I think the name is important. The other person says, no, but I think the shape of the earth is important. And that's where we discount people really quickly. And we have to sit there and say, that's important to you. I'm just not there. And it's sometimes hard for someone to relate and going, but I want you to be there with me. I want you to be up there right with me. But the reality is this, if someone came to flat earth and accepted it, you'll find something else to fight about. Like, you'll be happy for one night. You'll be like, hey, oh, you came to the flat earth truth. And then all of a sudden you'll start talking, about your eschatology, about your end times. And you'll be like, what? You believe what? The rapture? Oh. Everything will be discounted. It won't matter if they're flat earth. The fact is they believe in the rapture. You're kind of like, oh, or they believe in pre-trib, and you're like, no way. And then you fight about that. So what I'm saying is sometimes when God gives us a focus, let's just know that we have our differences, but let's agree almost to focus on what we unify with and what our objective is. Someone asked me actually today earlier on, they said, I don't know where God's calling me. What are you calling me to do? But if God's calling you in a certain direction, focus on that. Trying to do all things at once is too tough. For example, if you're being called into flat earth, then don't focus in on, all these other things, eschatology and all these sort of things. Focus in on that, because the more things you bring into it, the more people are going to argue with you and debate you, and your message will be lost. So I always say that just kind of keep your main focus, move with that. Yes, you can talk about what other things you believe in. Just understand that the more stuff you bring in, the more you will bring up disunity and people that will oppose you. Just like if I brought up something, I'm sure people would say, oh, Robbie's this, Robbie's that. And that's why I'm saying I focus mainly on this topic. And while you could disagree with me on that, the more I go into other issues, yeah, I'm sure a lot of you would find a lot of differences. But again, that's why I really won't go into it. I'll be really brief. Not that I'm hiding on it or that I don't want to. I just don't think it's wise right now. If you want to get to know me and we start talking over time and stuff, you'll get to know those things. But I want you to know, that this is the focus God's given me. And maybe in 5 years, He'll shift my focus and it will be on eschatology. It'll be on end times, and that's all I'll talk about. And we can talk about that. So that's just kind of the way I would look at it. But yeah, it's very dangerous. I mean, if you're dealing with someone in love, start to encourage them to like, hey man, like these are our brothers. How can we just discount them if they don't believe in flat Earth? And I really want to build that bridge. I mean, I'm talking to a lot of really great ministries and different people that don't believe in flat Earth, but they're open to having me on. They're open to hearing it or promoting my film and stuff like this. So they're getting their message out because I'm not coming at it making it salvational, saying, look, you have to believe in this. If not, you're a sellout, or you're a Satanist, or you're deceived, or you're. I mean, they might not just be at that level yet. And it's okay. It's okay, because the stuff they're talking about, I might not be there either. But you know where we are together? We're together with our love and our commitment to following, Jesus and following the Word of God. And that's the thing, trying our best basically to submit our lives to Him. And that's when it's all said and done, man, it's about His glory, not ours. So I'll just leave it at that. I know sometimes it's controversial and people, highlight it. Someone actually brought up just today, I was actually Adam. I don't know if Adam's still in the chat, but he brought up the fact that a lot of people were going around saying that in eschatology that the 144,000 in Revelations are the Christian flat earthers. And I'm just like, whoa, And again, a lot of people are believing this and stuff like that. Again, it's a whole debate, but really, when you start taking your interpretation and start doing this, some things can be dangerous. Not saying you're not entitled to have these views, but Again, if someone disagrees with you, don't write them off completely because they don't believe the 144,000 are Christian flat earthers. I mean, you can't get to a point where you elevate a secondary issue. And again, eschatology is secondary. It is. Most people would admit the thing. And if you're saying that's salvational, you have to believe the right interpretation. Your eschatology has to be this way. That's cult mentality. That's Mormonism. That's Jehovah Witness. That's when it's like you have to believe this or you're out. And that's not me. That's not flat earth. That's not enclosed cosmology. This is not a cult. This is not something where we come at it. We try to elevate the Bible. We try to understand it based on how God created it. But we shouldn't get to a point where we dismiss anyone that basically disagrees with us or have a hard time reconciling it because this is huge. I mean, the very fact that we recognize it, I think it's only an act and it's grace of God because me on my mind, I'd never come to this in a million years. So why did I? Why did you? Ask yourself that question. Pray about that. God, why me? Why me? Because the reality is you've been chosen for a reason, and you might be chosen to be on the forefront of something, and there'll be many people to follow you over time. But you've basically been blessed with the opportunity to see this transpire in your lifetime, to see your children, to see your children's children. I don't know. But what I'm saying is you have been chosen. You're in a position, and I say it's a huge responsibility. So that's the way I look at it. It's a huge responsibility. I want to make sure that I'm as good a representation as I can be. Not everyone will like me. Some people will hate me, but I just keep speaking the truth and keep pushing forward. So, anyways, that was a great question, Brian. It was good. I was wondering if you were actually going to show up. So that was Fourth Amendment. I appreciate that, and it's awesome. I really appreciate all the questions. Nick, I want to say a few things to a couple people that have just joined us. Um, yeah, thank you so much, Frank. It's awesome. Jacob, yes, awesome to see you guys in 444, the truth. Um, there's like a lot of people and stuff that I didn't say hello to, so I just wanted to say hello. And if there's any last questions, I think I'm going to wrap this up soon. It's been, well, on this second one, it's been an hour and 40 minutes. It's funny, the first one I did for like, what, 5 minutes and I was having issues. So, anyways, are all pastors on TVs are shills, right? Joel Olstein. I wouldn't say that all pastors on TVs are shills. I definitely say Joel Olstein, massively false teacher. But the idea that, these guys are waking up every morning to go out and deceive the world, I don't really think so. I think that they're deceived. Yes. I think that, there's a lot of false teaching out there. Absolutely. And I can't really think of anyone on TV as far as good that I would recommend. But the idea shill, I really don't like the word shill. I mean, you could hear in a week that I'm a shill, and then look into a couple things, and now you believe I'm a shill. What I'm saying is the whole shill thing. It's so easy just to say someone's a shill. I really don't care what people think. I mean, unless you really got to know me personally, you came over to my place, had dinner, got to know my family, and then you go out and call me a shill. Maybe I'll take that personal because you got to know me. But all these people that just throw a video together or say I'm a shill because I said this or I didn't say that. Yeah. And again, we're really quick to actually just call people shills. I don't even like the word. I just think it's ridiculous. I don't even know really what actually even means. I mean, I've looked up the definition, but so to say someone's a shill, that they're paid, they're bought out, they're, whatever the thing is. I mean, yeah. But I would say that, Joel Olstein, yeah, false teacher, big time, big time. I mean, horrendous. The guy won't even commit to saying an atheist is going to hell, Oh, well, I don't know, God's the only one to judge, I really don't know their heart, he'll be on interviews and they'll be like, yeah, but what about a Satanist? What about a Muslim? What about an atheist? Would an atheist go to heaven? Well, I don't know, it's up to God, it's like he won't commit to anything. He won't offend anyone. So, and that's the whole thing with when you're getting into TV and stuff. I don't know so much it's like shill territory. It's like you get on there, you just don't want to offend anyone. So for me, it's not even about offending. I mean, there's a lot of people that have been offended by my stuff, and whatever, deal with it. I mean, I'm just reading out the Bible, preaching that, but obviously I don't want to be a jerk about it. But again, I will speak out on people that I believe are, false teachers or, leading people astray. I like to generally talk about the doctrine or the topic instead of the person. I really have a hard time going against someone personally in that context when I really don't understand them personally. I can talk about their teaching, but it's tough. It's really rare that you'll see a video from me calling out someone personally. I might call out a idea in general sense, but I just, yeah, and I haven't been called to that. I've been called to do different things because trust me, I could get into that, and there have been times early on that, I was, almost wanting to go that direction. I was seeing a lot of stuff happen and I was getting upset and, God was just telling me to like, relax and let him, you know, steer the ship, let him lead. Because if I had not listened to him, I'm sure I would have done some really foolish things and I wouldn't be where I am today. So, any pastor that does not stress the importance of daily repentance, they are off track and leading people astray. Yahweh reigns, says. Yeah, I mean, like it's important, and that's the whole thing is when we get into different ideas and people doing stuff, yeah, it's, that type of stuff. So, um, flat stuff Earth, the border is a little much on the channel, and the Hitler flat Earth map picture is a fake Photoshop one. So I'm just reading a couple last things, just seeing if there's any questions. Saying hello to a few more people. Kathy talks about liking Pastor Dean Odell. Yeah, Dean's awesome. He's really great. Got to meet him, spent a lot of time with him, not just filming Scientism Exposed 2, but also at the Flat Earth International Conference. It was really great. We've got really close. We talk to each other, really often. And yeah, he's really brave and he speaks it like it is. And that's the whole thing. I mean, you can disagree with him or me or whatever like that, but he'll preach it and so will I. And it's kind of like we just kind of say what believe to be the truth, and that's awesome. And again, when it comes to flat Earth, like I said, there's not a lot that are really speaking out or being bold and risking their reputation. So what I say to people all the time is that if you have doctrinal issues or you see certain things that you disagree with, maybe wait for 10 years before you start really harping on that. If they're in unity with your flat earth, because we're all in this together, and there's only so many of us, so we really need to like not fight one another because we differ on like one doctrine or something like this. When we're all unified in exposing the lies of scientism and NASA, man, let's just unite on that. Let's just look at that. Let's try our best to focus on that and not get hung up. I could get hung up on any name you throw out there that you admire if I got to know them enough. I joke about this with Rob Skiba. I joke about this with Dean Odell. I joke about this with Zen Garcia. I joke about this with anyone. I joke about it with anyone in the community that I've talked to, Mark Sargent or Jaron or what. I'm saying if I really spent my time and really focused in on something I didn't like, I mean, I could really make a mess of things completely. And that goes for even people that I feature on the channel. There's lots of things I don't agree with Rob Skiba. There's lots of things I don't agree with Dean Odell. But what I'm saying is they're secondary. It's fine. We're brothers in Christ. I mean, we love one another. We talk, and we have a great relationship, and we have an appreciation. But if we focus on the things that we disagreed with, we really wouldn't talk much longer because again, that's just emotions get into it and we really just start falling apart, man. And it happens to me. It happens to you. It happens to all of us if we choose to focus that way. So I'm really happy in this part of my life, instead of going the direction I normally would have gone, where I would have really raised up these issues. Nope, you got to believe in this type of eschatology. Nope, you got to believe in this. You got to believe in this. You got to believe in this. I wouldn't be talking to hardly anyone. I mean, I'd just be talking to myself probably, but I wouldn't be close to Rob Skiba. I wouldn't be close to Dean Odell and many, many other people in my life because I would focus. So to me, what flat earth has taught me is it's not tolerance where I'm just going to tolerate anything, but what it's taught me is the importance of unity and brotherhood and the body of Christ. And it's like, see, it really doesn't matter. We're on the forefront of waking up the whole world. God is calling us on the biggest deception ever, and we're going to focus in on doctrinal issues on church or this or that, and we're all in agreement that NASA are scum and scientism is governed by Satan, and this thing needs to go down, and it is going down bit by bit. Man, let's get together, let's talk, let's do shows, let's so there's power when we do that. But again, all we have to do is one day get on the phone, talk about some doctrine we disagree with. It could be anything, honestly. It could be the gifts of the spirit. We could just go to town, and that would be it. Boof, and it's like it's not important right now. So I'm not discounting that these things aren't important. You believe in the gifts of spirit, you don't, blah 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 blah. These are important. These to engage. Find other people to engage with on it or debate with, but not your kind of people that are aligned with the greatest deception, that are woke up to something, that are literally being part of changing the world forever. And this is exactly what we're seeing. History is being made right now. I don't think you guys understand how big this is. I mean, read the articles. Go look around. You're part of something that's big. It would be written in the history books. When we were doing the Flat Earth International Conference, It was the first time ever in the world that happened. That will be put in the history books. My name, people that were there, people that were represented, blah, blah. Every one of you that are here tonight doing different things, writing a book, doing pottery, writing, painting a painting, a flat, or whatever. If it's around enclosed cosmology, if it's pointing people to the gospel, this stuff is going to be etched. Maybe, it will put in the history books, but it's also being written in the book of life. It's almost being, it's being recorded. So when people are saying, when I die, I mean, what have I done? It's like God's given us the greatest opportunity to do amazing things. He's equipped us. He's given us the Bible. We have the truth, and He'll use your personality. He'll use you in a way that fits you and the people you come in contact with. So every one of you are vitally important to this, and it's one person at a time. If only one person is affected, you don't know the ripple effect. One person was brave enough, when I was 21 years old, to tell me and to share the gospel. And now look, I'm doing movies, I'm doing, YouTube, and all these things are happening. I mean, I'm putting together, a historic event like the Flat Earth International Conference in Raleigh, North Carolina. You know, spreading the news, the good news about the gospel, but the truth of our creation. And yet, I used to laugh at the Bible. I used to think, creation was nonsense. It's all evolution and science all the way. So what I'm saying is, one person, what is going to happen when you look back on it, when you get to heaven, because it's the only way you're going to see the ripple effect, that one person you talk to, what happened to them or who did they tell? And that one person went on to really change a lot of people. So what I'm saying is everyone's important. We're all in this together. Let's just try to work our best, see what 2018 brings. I'm sure there's going to be ups and downs, there's going to be drama, but I just like to encourage everyone. I like to be kind of that voice of reason saying, let's not get caught up in the drama. Let's ask God what He wants us to do, what's the direction He wants us to go, and who are the people that He wants us to touch in this war on truth and this war on creation, on the true creator of creation. So, thank you so much. Every one of you are awesome. I really appreciate all your support. If you're not familiar, I have my Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/celebrate truth. Got some things going on there. My channel is obviously on YouTube, Celebrate Truth. My website is celebratetruth.org. I have my DVDs. And Follow Jesus is asking how long I've been born again. I just turned 46 last week was my birthday, and I got saved at 21. So do the math on that. So over 20 years, I think it's getting close to 25 years, somewhere in there, but it's over 20 years now. But I got saved at the age of 21 and I'm 46 now. So it's been amazing. And I was one of those guys, the last guy you would ever think of ever being one of those Bible thumpers or preaching from the Bible or whatever. I was just, trust me, when people, when I changed, people were like, no, never in a million years. Robbie Davidson, I don't believe it. They almost have to talk to me because they'd hear the rumor. It was so preposterous. I ran with a very, very crazy, crowd. I was into everything, sex, drugs, rock and roll, really wild lifestyle. So I was the last guy ever that would ever pick up one of those Bibles. And I mean, I was so changed and I was so hungry for the Word of God. I went to a 24-hour diner and I read the entire New Testament in one sitting. 30 something hours. I forget how long it took, but at that time they had coffee, and back then I was smoking, and you could smoke back then. And that's it. I went through, I don't know, a couple shifts of waitresses, and a couple of them were just like, "What are you reading?" Like I was just glued. But I read the whole New Testament in one sitting. I was hungry, and before I got saved, I hated reading. Couldn't stand it. But when I got saved, man, I'll tell you, it's just like I had a hunger for reading. I read so many books in the first few years getting saved. It was unbelievable. But anyways, I just saw that question pop up, and I don't think a lot of people really know. If you really want to know more about my life, I really break down a lot of it in one of my recent interviews. If you look at faith versus science, I think it is. It's on my channel. If you go to my channel, it's like two back. I go into the whole thing. They ask me about my whole life from, the story, how it happened, to what I've been doing the last 20 years up until recent, what I'm doing. So if you really want to know the whole gamut, it's a great interview. It's about, I don't know, 25 minutes. It's on my channel. I think it's called Faith versus Science, Robbie Davidson. You can check that out and see that. So, anyways, I was going to say if you're interested in my DVDs or watching Scientism Exposed 2, you can check it out at celebratetruth.org. So, my website, celebratetruth.org. You'll see it come up in there. And I really appreciate all your support. Thank you so much, Yahweh Reigns. I appreciate that. And yeah, just let's keep preaching the truth and let's change the world because it's one person at a time. And I'll tell you, Flat Earth is changing things. So I'm excited, and We're gonna do some amazing things in 2018. It's just the start. 2015, 2016, 2017. Now we're in 2018, and I'm excited for what's going to transpire. It's going to be amazing, and so thankful for each one of you. So I'll try to do this soon. Maybe post in the comments after the video what you thought of it. This is going to be archived probably about 2 minutes after I stop this. Please like it, and also maybe post a comment, because everything will disappear once this stops. But you will be able to post a comment. I will post it, and let me know what you thought, but also what you'd like to see in the future. If there's any ideas, I'd love to hear all your input. And I really want to this year make sure that I engage more with you. Uh, that have been supporters of me for so long. I couldn't have done it without you, and I'm so appreciative. So thanks again. Blessings to all of you. Remember, John 14:6, as Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. He's the truth, and we're following the truth. Okay, man. Take care. Bye.